Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News and so much reaction to another crazy day of Masters last night. Only 4 teams remain at VCT Masters, not the 4 teams that a lot of people expected. So much to dive into today. Very much intrigued your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Loads of new support the last few days. On the verge of 15k subs as well, not too far away. Really appreciate every single one of you who's come along for the ride these last couple of weeks. Firstly, new agent confirmed. She's called FaZe. She kind of looks like Reyna, like the screen kind of points out right here. Not exactly sure what she does yet. I think people are talking about her being an initiator, stuff like this. So I guess over the coming days, we'll kind of find out what's going on. But I thought it was quite cool, actually. They pretty much revealed this for the first time on the Master stream last night. So kind of a good way to get people involved in the esports side. But like, okay, look, if you want to find out about the new agents, come and actually watch the stream. So thought that was kind of cool. Relatively soon, we're going to have some more information on that, I imagine. And of course, honestly, so far this event, I'm pretty sure only Phoenix has not been used. Even last night, we saw Yori being brought out again, like Reyna's been used a fair bit. Of course, Neon's coming into the meta. Chamber's pretty much a mainstay at this point. So great to see a lot of the new agents getting a lot of use, but still, Phoenix, they're probably going to do something about it to actually make him viable. This real quick from Halo, Ascend and Giants Gaming in talks to pull off some sort of trade. Killers from the Ascend side, of course, like they've made so many moves, right? It's been a really tough few months for them. Of course, given what we talked about a few days ago, at least, was rumored that at cNed to 100 Thieves was an option. Now, Sin might be thinking, okay, I'm going to say maybe 100 Thieves. Maybe I should have gone for that move, or maybe I should have made that work, or maybe 100 Thieves, maybe it was too much money involved, or whatever the case might be. But there was the rumors the cNed might not be re-signing to Ascend, and as he probably looks back on this situation, it's a tough time that they find themselves in. But Killers might be gone. Monster is the player they want to join them. So thought this is a pretty good move. I think Monster seems like a pretty promising player. But yeah, maybe a negotiation could go down here with some sort of trade that could see these two guys swap around teams. This also real quick, as Zeta says, expect the unexpected. Not exactly sure if version 1 are going to do anything. Of course, look, a lot of players, they love tweeting stuff like this. Whether or not it actually translates to anything, who really knows? Thought that was kind of a funny tweet from George Geddes. He basically said, look, expect the unexpected, and you guys are just going to drop your worst player anyway. Yeah, we expected that one, lads. Now, this was a very interesting article that came out actually yesterday from Masters. This was very surprising to me, actually. But, with regards to Trent. So, for some reason, I don't know how he can actually do this, but he listens to music while he's actually playing the games. Like, in-game, I'm pretty sure he actually listens to music. And, not maybe even just before games as well to get him in the right headspace and stuff like this. But, whatever. He wants to use music. He wants to listen to music before, during, whatever the game might be at Masters. This is not something that you are allowed to do. As they found out this past weekend, and it kind of threw Trent off their game, at least according to the coach. So, very interesting interview. This, sorry that the music stuff is highlighted here. I was Control-Fing to try and find where this was mentioned in the article. But, Trent listens to music while he plays. He wasn't allowed to listen to music here. It could be a nerves thing that helps him calm down. These are things we learned that were too late to try and switch up. I found out when we got here that he was listening to music. Today, mid-match, he opened Spotify and realized that he was actually super nervous and uncomfortable. He asked the admin if he could play music, but the admin said no. So, very interesting stuff, right? Because I think a big storyline of the Guards weekend really, firstly, the storyline was, okay, well, if they were in the groups, if they'd have got through the groups, would that have given them more experience to get further in the tourney, rather than getting double first round as they did in the bracket play after coming in as the #1 North American seed? Or was, because of course Trent individually, like Sire player played great, but, Trent compared to the level he was at, let's say online, at this LAN event, definitely seemed nervous, uncomfortable, unexpectedly so, right, for a player so young. It's obviously very expected that it's going to be a difficult time at your first LAN, so I definitely feel for him, but at the same time, the whole music thing is very strange. Listening while he plays, listening, I guess, before the game to get you in the right headspace, that's totally fine, but during the game itself, that's really not something that is expected or is going to be allowed at a LAN event like this. And Sean Gares explains exactly why, as he says in the reply, this is likely a competitive integrity issue. You might think, okay, what's the problem with him listening to music if he wants to just get his phone up and do whatever? But, there are potentially competitive integrity issues as a result of this, just letting all the players or letting any players have internet access. I guess even if he's using downloads or whatever, it could be a bit of a problem, as Sean Gares described. So it would be quite hard to police and comb through every song that each player is listening to, and it just adds so many other ways to cheat. I say this as someone who always listened while playing at his age, so I thought that was kind of interesting from Sean Gares. But as he says, players in CSGO found ways to cheat using the Steam marketplace, so internet ended up being taken away from all major LAN PCs. They even restricted access to deathmatch servers in the game due to downloads from third-party mods. I could literally do an audiobook of anti-stratting, name it Machine Gun Kelly 5150, and throw it in the middle of the 1,000-song playlist, right? That is the thing. It's very difficult to police anything like this. It's definitely a possibility, right, that players could abuse this, or coaches could abuse this if they really wanted to. Not saying they would, but it just getting rid of music entirely kind of shuts down all the possibilities of what Sean Gares is describing. describing it. You can have a 1,000-song playlist, and one of those songs is, kind of giving specifics on what the other team does, or somehow giving the player information in game they shouldn't have access to. So difficult time. Guess that lesson learned, I suppose, from Trent and the guards as to what they need to focus on going forwards. But might have been another factor while this team underperformed expectations this past weekend. Let's talk about this match then. So Zeta versus DRX. My predictions yesterday were shocking, but who's surprised at this point? But DRX to me should have been favourites this series. They beat them 2-0 the first time these two teams matched up back in the groups. DRX 2-0'd them. Zeta went down to losers. They still made it through regardless. This match was a very different story. Zeta played great, and I obviously think DRX, they played so well against Optic. They were so consistent, so coherent. Their strats and everything. Their team play, their shots were impeccable. But this game really did feel like there was some whiffs going on. There was no doubt. DRX get the round win here. That makes it 5-4. Just about. Laz doesn't get the defuse in time. That was so tight. But Zeta put up a fantastic fight game one and end up taking it in the end. At this point, it's 11-10 for Zeta. They win this one 11-11, or they make it 11-11 after a flawless round. And it just seemed like watching DRX. Don't know if the nerves maybe got to them to some degree, or there was some shots being whiffed that you wouldn't necessarily expect to be whiffed for players like this. And Zeta took full advantage. Game one goes their way on the icebox. Then it goes to the Ascent though. Buzz and the guys on, of course, the DRX side, they bounce back pretty emphatically. Got some beautiful shots right here once again. They take the Ascent, tie up the series, and then it goes to a game 3. So I expected DRX to still be the better team and still to end up winning this one, but Zeta had a massive advantage early on here on the split. They take a dominant CT side, honestly. They got 5-0 early on. ShahZaM, honestly, this guy is just so much fun to watch. These guys, it's just great. The passion, the nices that come through for this team. Nice.AP3 is a pretty significant, meme at the moment, right? They got 5-0, and that is not where it was done. They win a 10-2 half, and then it goes into the pistol rounds, and Laz gets a fantastic 1v2 here on the Viper. That makes it 11-2, and from there it was effectively smooth sailing, right? We did see a very interesting split comeback later in the day that we shall see here in a few minutes' time, but Zeta Division, they close out this series. Unbelievable performance from these guys. Just such a phenomenal storyline, right? All this talk before the event, Japan, minor region, don't even deserve a spot, should be lumped in with APAC in general. These guys have just gone to show, and I believe Laz even said in an interview, he reckons one day the Japanese team or the Japanese region will be the best in the entire world. They get top 4 guaranteed this event, taking down DRX. What a performance, and who knows how far this team can go, to be honest. Such a fun team, really cool to see them having success. TenZ is fully on board with it as well. The hashtag Zeta win, it was trending all over the place, right? So very cool stuff. Happy for the guys. 10, of course, what a player, you see TenZ said in the reply, I thought was kind of funny. And of course, this from FNS. This is what the bracket looks like after this game. DRX beating Zeta Division, or DRX losing to Zeta Division. That puts Zeta into losers round 3. They're top 4 guaranteed. They play their LR3 match in just a few days' time here. We'll look at who that is against in a couple of minutes. But Japan, top 4 at their first ever event. Tough for DRX because they played so well pretty much up until this series. But that's not good enough. Zeta Division 2-1 over DRX. The overall series stats here, ShahZaM, Laz, all the guys turned up. Crazy series. Icebox was 13-11. Ascent went 13-10 the other way, and then split 13-4 on the final map. 10 ShahZaM taking over the game. Tough final map here from Buzz, 3-15 on the Astra. So difficult times for them. They lose the map 3. The chance they might have had to rematch Optic later on in the tournament, that goes away. But Zeta Division continue on. The next game then was G2 versus PRX. Now, this was a very interesting start. Early on, it felt like, wow, G2 having a great CT side or great defensive side here over on the split. And they had a monster first half. I believe it was a 9-3, and as soon as it's 9-3, you guys know what can potentially happen after that one. So 9-2, 9-3 in the end it was right here. So Jing just about gets them over the line onto the 9-3, and of course 10-2 is a different story as we saw in the first game, DRX versus Zeta, but 9-3 is seems to be the curse obviously comes through. So defensive side then goes to PRX. They win the pistol crucially. So and all of a sudden this game is very close again. So it goes from 9-3, 9-2 at one point back to 9-7, and honestly Forsaken is so much fun to watch. All these guys are just so much fun to watch. They go for the peaks. They don't care. They'll try and challenge you. They'll just go for the crazy jet plays. Play with such ridiculous aggression and pace on the team that it's just that you can't take your eyes off watching PaperX play. They're just so much fun to watch, and ShahZaM made that point very clear here in a second. Now, G2 from a 9-2 edge, now it's 9-7, now it's 9-8 or whatever, and all of a sudden, this game is right back in PRX's favour. 11-10 at this point, one round away after making it 12-10, have taken their round pick. So, honestly, G2, they could get nothing going on their offensive sides. Look, offensive side on split, it can be pretty brutal at times, but you'd expect them to do something here. The full collapse comes through. The composure from PaperX was absolutely fantastic. They take the game 1. ShahZaM makes it very clear. PRX is so fun to watch, right? No doubt this is probably my favourite team to watch right now. All of their players do some crazy stuff all the time. Forsaken was on the Euro, I think, or whatever on the game too. Just crazy stuff that this team does. Really really cool, the compositions they come up with. Very entertaining team. It's great to see like the different kind of what the different regions come up with. And honestly, when it went to this game too here on the binds, like all of a sudden, PRX now find themselves certainly in the driver's seat. I feel like from the G2 sides, they were, you know, maybe internally or mentally or whatever, they were having a tough time just because after losing the game one the way they did, it's tough to rebound from that. PaperX get to 9 rounds right here, like Forsaken on the Euro had a phenomenal final map, and they take the series 29 in 13 from Forsaken on the map too on the Euro, and I think over the course of the series 54 in 28 with 12 assists. So this goes out of control. Not the Optic India Forsaken that you guys will know of, but you know, just a fantastic team, great player, and yeah, G2 go out. This is a really big story for EMEA, right, in general, the European region, because FPX of course couldn't make it. Some very difficult times with a lot of the teams, Fnatic and all what's going on in that region, but still G2 had the chance, Liquid had the chance here as well. They fall short. G2 look like a very good team, but it feels like G2 are an interesting squad because playing against teams they know and are comfortable with, they seem very good indeed. When they play a team that has a slightly different style or they gets them a little bit uncomfortable, all of a sudden G2 you know, can collapse actually, as indeed they did right here. So that's the thing. Vanity's backing up you know, what was it, FNS's opinion a few days ago, putting TSM straight into these tourneys, as he says, no EMEA top 4. I think that means they should lose all of their spots. TSM gets a direct invite every single time. It's actually FNS here with the reply, kind of supporting this one, of course tongue-in-cheek as you might expect. But this then is the bracket. So before we actually look at this bracket, let's look at the final series stats from PaperX over G2. Forsaken, Jing, I'm pretty sure that you know, probably TenZ was looking at this being very happy indeed, because like well, he's been trying to make Euros part of the meta right here. He actually comes through on that game 2 on the bind, works out for them spectacularly, and yeah, game 1 split to that 13-10, brutal for G2, right, the way this worked out. I mean, look at this second half, 9-3 at the half, then the second half, I mean, look at all these rounds in a row. Brutal stuff for G2, but it's not enough at the end of the day, and then of course the second map on binds, because Icebox was not even required at 13-7. So PaperX move on in the tournament. This then is the bracket we are looking at. So we have a few days off now to discuss other topics. I'm sure there's going to be plenty going on, but well, the first thing to happen is the upper final on April the 22nd. So one of Loud and Optic will be in the grand finals of the tournament, and then on the loser side, Zeta versus PaperX. These are the 4 teams remaining. Like, I wouldn't really have predicted coming into this tournament that by the time we get to the final 4, there's going to be, well, of course, one North American team, one Brazilian team, one Japanese team, and then of course PaperX as well. They're rounding out an incredible top 4 for this Masters event. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button, tells the YouTube gods this is a good video. I'd also like you should see it as well, and I've grown the competitive Valorant community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.